There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. We're back. We're back. It's your boy G alongside Alec and our good friend Matt here for the
Yes.
episode 300. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the show, like, review, subscribe, all of that. Work for us on all of our streaming platforms. Follow us on TikTok and IG at section.300. Follow us on Twitter at section300 sports. Follow me at Just Say G. All our ads are there. Lakers fan 24 for Alec and Matt, our Boston analyst, amongst other things. At Marcus Smarks on Twitter as well. We on there. And we act a little bit more active than before. So definitely want to chat with y'all and definitely hit us up for all the good things going on right now. So back into the great episode. A whole lot to talk about. The Super Wild. They call Super Wildcard Weekend Super, but divisional round this last week was the real Super Round. And I really enjoyed that. As we all seem to. It was a great one with classics start to finish. I really enjoyed that. So we'll get to that. And then we'll make our picks for this conference championship. So NFL things going on, a lot of stuff going on in the NBA that we'll get to later on. Going to be a very fun episode, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Excuse me. Now that the intro's out the way, as I like to do, Alec, how you doing today, bro? You good?
Pretty good.
Yeah, Matt, welcome back.
Yeah.
How you feeling today, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, had to bring you back on. You always a great person to talk to, and definitely want to continue to have you on the show. So definitely appreciate you for joining us for season 3. It's off to a good start. So now, as we said, get straight into the NFL things. Super divisional round, as I'm calling it, went down last week and was super. I don't really know how else to describe it. It was unreal. Every game was crazy, start to finish. Thoroughly enjoyed it all. Every game was decided by a late score. The Chiefs the only ones I think scoring a touchdown to end it. The other 3 ending in field goals. But very fun weekend. Bengals outdid the Titans. Niners outdid the Packers somehow. Rams outdid the Bucks. And the Bills and the Chiefs, we saw how that game went down. That may have been one of the greatest games we've ever seen in the NFL, how people were describing it. So definitely a fun weekend. And before we go on to our picks for next weekend, what did y'all think of the divisional round? Al, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, I think we said last week as we were trying to predict the scores that these games were all looked close, like they were going to be great games. And I don't think we expected it to be just as good as it was.
Exactly.
But a lot of people are calling it like the best weekend in football. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, they were all really close games that went down to the wire. So probably in the discussion. I think as people have joked, in Burrow we trust. He's the only one preventing us from getting Jackson Mahomes twerking on the sidelines. So we gotta.
We'll get to that.
We got to continue to trust in Joe Shiesty, as you've been calling him too. But yeah, it was a fun weekend. I think although we didn't do so great on the predictions.
Real quick, Alec, let me address that because your boy tried to get on me about my picks over the weekend. I tweeted out my picks. We had the same picks. Alec, we had the same picks. Minus the last game. Minus one game. Minus the Chiefs game. The first 3 picks were the same. But for some reason, I was getting all the hate from my pick.
I'm beating the allegations right now. So.
And you just sat in silence. I'm not letting you skate by like that. You got one game right, barely. But no, it wasn't just me on that one.
We're 2-2, buddy.
2-2. Wait, I thought you had the Rams and also. What 2 did you get right?
Rams and the Chiefs.
Okay. Then did I get?
Oh, 1-3, buddy.
Right. Got it. I had mixed it up. Okay, I was 1-3, but still, the first two, you were wrong on also. So just had to make sure we had to clarify that. But definitely a fun one. My picks were off, but still enjoyed what I saw on the field. And again, as I keep saying, it was super. So thoroughly enjoyed that. Matt, what is your takeaways from last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, first off, while we're talking records, the one pick I had last week on record was Bengals over whoever the hell Titans. There we go. One-legged Derrick Henry. So 1-0. I'll take that belt where I can get it here. I mean, it was an incredible week of football, or weekend, I should say. I mean, best weekend of football ever. I mean, I don't really know. I'm sure the Harvard Crimson were playing some nice pigskin in 1920, but I mean, just incredible. Like, I mean, at least for recent memory, like certainly is the most fun I've had watching football, just in terms of like the games itself, like a red zone Sunday when you got a bunch of, like 12 games going on at the day. It's not the same as, 4 extreme top quality games, which is what we got. And I mean, it was incredible. Like that Chiefs Bills, like if we want to make grand statements, I feel like that's the one I'm most confident in saying, like, probably the greatest game I've ever seen. And like, I'm not, like I've seen a lot of, deep brown playoff football that I watch from a fan's perspective. Like it beats any of those.
I don't know,
like,
that David Tyree catch game.
I mean, hey, I'm not going to put it in there for reasons we don't have to get into. I totally am not going to therapy still because of that. But like, it's just incredible. Like, when I think of some of the most fun, like the best football games I've watched, like at least the second half of like the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl comes to mind. But like that's so fan oriented. Like
that was one of the worst for me. But...
exactly, like that was so historic and such like a monumental moment that like your biases get into it. But what was fun after having the Patriots get killed by the Bills was just being able to watch as an objective fan. And like that game was incredible. Like Patrick Mahomes gets the ball with 13 seconds left, and like the entire world is like, I don't know, man, that's too much time. Like 13 seconds, Patrick Mahomes, like, and then he goes out and does it. Like, how do you even compete with that? It was just
there was the meme that everybody likes to create now about Aaron Rodgers with 2 minutes left. Oh, there's too much time, as you just said. For Pat to have 13 seconds, and yes, he also had 3 timeouts, but still, 13 seconds is 13 seconds, and you have to drive. What was that? 80 yards at least to get to, or not 80 yards, but 40 to get in field goal range or whatever. To make that happen, still, that's what do you do?
To your points about the timeouts too, like that's what Andy Reid is like if he has a weak spot as a coach, like it's his clock management.
Right.
So like, it's even just the fact that Pat is able to do it with all of those circumstances was insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And just can't get rid of those boys. Like they continue to find a way. They seem to be the new Brady in the way that Brady always finds a way to stick around. Mahomes and Hill and all those guys always find a way to win, even when there seems to be no shot. They find a way. So definitely applaud to them. And now, because of their victory, they're in the Conference Championship yet again, and up against the Bengals, who actually beat them early on in the year. Obviously, it's a lot bigger stakes at hand here, so there'll be some elevated play from the Chiefs. But do you guys think there's going to be the same result as the first game, or the Chiefs are going to get them back for that loss early on in the year? Alec, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it's going to be a really high-powered offensive matchup. I think both teams can put up, as we know, like I think that was week 17 where Joe Burrow had like 450 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Jamar Chase had like 260 receiving and 3 touchdowns.
The guy who Les Miles said isn't a receiver today. I don't know why he said that, but
what did you say?
Les Miles had, I guess, Jamar Chase did an interview today and said that when he was going into LSU, I'm talking to Les Miles, who's the coach at the time. Les Miles had a plan to play in that cornerback at first. He said he wouldn't be a receiver.
I think he was originally a running back.
Right. So Les Miles was wrong on that one.
I think he's a crazy athlete
on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson's a tight end too, right? Like
exactly, right?
If we just trust every coach we listen to, like Les Miles.
Jamar's dynamic in the way that he could potentially be like, he's not as athletically gifted in terms of his physical like body like Deebo Samuel, but I think he could do like similar things to what Deebo has done this year. Just a truly like dynamic special athlite, and it's crazy that Joe had him and Justin Jefferson like at LSU. Like no wonder they ran the table, but an insane quarterback wide receiver tandem there. But I that being said, I still love the Chiefs in this matchup. I think it was a 3-point win for the Bengals when they played in week 17. Same thing I said last week. Like, as great as Josh Allen has been, I still favored Mahomes in a late game scenario where it's a 1-score game. I think you get a similar situation because I don't think either defense is going to hold either team below like 24 points.
Right.
So I think you get a close game down the stretch, and it's the offenses battling out. And the Bengals, too, gave up like 9 sacks and still won. I don't think they can win giving up 9 sacks again against the Chiefs.
That's the biggest thing right there.
I mean, I don't know if the Chiefs' pass rush is as good as Tennessee's was. Like that was.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not, but you don't need a great pass rush against this horrible O-line.
Yeah.
So they can still get there.
That's a good point.
I think it's close. I think it's close again, but I think the Chiefs eke it out.
You want me to go first, Matt, or you want to go?
Yeah, you got it. I'll close it out.
All right. Again, this whole playoffs has been tough because all these teams, minus the Rams, kinda like I just don't care for them. So trying to put biases aside, I guess I have to go with the Chiefs. Like I don't like saying that. Like I don't want to.
What you got against the Chiefs, buddy?
They've just been the Ravens kind of
trying to jump on the demise train earlier too this year.
During the Lamar era, they're the ones we couldn't get past, and then we helped them, sending them Orlando Brown on that O line. So just the problems they've caused us for so long have created bias. And I talked about the Bengals recently and how they try to poke. Now that they finally got some success, they try to reinsert themselves into beefs with us. So both these squads are kind of against my Ravens, but with my Ravens being out, trying to, again, putting that bias aside, I do think that somehow the Chiefs have found the formula yet again to get back to the pinnacle, and we'll do it again, even against this very impressive Bengals team. They had a good run, but the run ends now. They will put up a solid fight, but as you pointed out, Alec, I think that O-line, while it won't be while Joe has shown that he can overcome that, I think that in a game like this, you need a little bit more stability there in order to put up enough points to keep up with this Chiefs squad. I don't think this line allows him to do that this time. And I think that the Chiefs get away with this one yet again. So the line is at 7. And I think I'll take that as well. I think the Chiefs might separate just a little bit at the end. Just with how they're rolling, not fully on both sides, even though the defense has improved. But when the offense clicks as it clicks, nobody can beat them. So gotta go with them with this weekend. And looking forward to that game. So Matt, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good matchup, right? Like I don't know. It's like trying to find a basketball equivalent and can't come to mind, but it's just like it's a complete shootout, right? It's just who's going to be able to keep up with the other, basically. I mean, advantage Chiefs, like you guys are saying. Like, just even thinking it through, like, Joe Burrow probably can't even get sacked, like, 5 times for them to be able to keep up with the Chiefs. Like, they were just blessed that the Titans' offense wasn't really clicking.
Yeah, that Tannehill threw 3 picks.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you can, for every 3 sacks, the other side's got to have an interception. Like, I guess that's just the math. But, I'm going to go with the Bengals, though. You guys both went Chiefs. I think it'll be close. And I think, like, this Bengals team is the first team that we've seen since, the Chiefs have been who they are, that seems to have, like, that offensive firepower to keep up with them. I mean, even
the Bills, too.
I mean, yeah, like, they very clearly proved that. And, I think as Josh Allen progresses and, as that offense, Devin Singletary did well for them. I mean, he ran all over my Patriots that week. But if they can get, like, an established run game the way that Kansas City's been sort of trying to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and, like, kind of was able to do with Darrell Williams for a little bit, like, if they can establish that, then their offense is unlocked. And I think that that's sort of, when I think of it, like, the advantage that the Bengals have is Joe Mixon. It's not going to be like this committee where it's like sometimes it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, sometimes it's McKinnon catching passes. Like, they have Joe Mixon out there. You have
Samaji P. Ryan. You don't think they're going to throw him out?
No love for Samaji, but like when Joe Mixon's out there, like it's not like it's a tell like the Patriots used to be with Sonny Michel. Like anytime he was on the field, they were running it. You knew that. Yeah. Like you don't get that with a guy like Joe Mixon. He's in that kind of like every down back, like with Christian McCaffrey and those guys, like your Jonathan Taylors. So I think I'm going to give the advantage to them just to make this a little fun. I think it's a close matchup. And I think just in terms of like offensive football, like this will probably play out like a lot of Madden games I was in when I was like 10, like just deep routes with Jamar Chase, like him and Tyreek Hill are just going to be running goes the whole game. Should be exciting.
I will say I would like to see I would like to see the Bengals win. I love Mahomes and the Chiefs too, but it would be dope to see this young squad get there. Like after not having made the playoffs for 31 years, for the Bengals to make a run to the Super Bowl would be dope with second-year quarterback Joe Burrow and rookie Jamar Chase.
Seriously, especially with them going from LSU and the championship they got there to being able to do it in Cincy in like 2 years. Like, that's almost unprecedented. And I mean, that shows the impact that a guy like Burrow can have. Like, that confidence that he's playing with. Like, he's not back there, even if he gets sacked 9 times, he's not back there scared. Like, you can kind of see with like Jimmy G or even a guy like Josh Allen, more a year or two ago, Josh Allen than now, but. Like he's collected at least.
And I guess they were right to draft Chase because we got on them about not drafting the O lineman, which
they may struggle.
They may struggle, but it's worked. Like without Jamar Chase, I don't think they're at this point.
No, they wouldn't have. They might have not made the playoffs without those last couple of weeks that he had.
Yeah, that is true. So Matt, I like the pick a lot, and you saw me. I debated it right here as I was trying to make my pick, but. I've learned my lesson with Mahomes and them, so we'll see if me picking them is the jinx, as Alec has the jinx with the Ravens. We'll see if my pick ends up with the Bengals actually prevailing, which I wouldn't mind, even though they, like I say, have their beef, whatever. But I do like this Bengals squad, the pieces they have there, and think it is possible. I just see what the Chiefs continue to do and have to believe that they'll find a way to do it yet again in this one. So. Looking forward to that one. It's going to be a very fun game. So looking forward to that. And then the next game, this one is just as hard of a toss-up for me, honestly, or even more of a toss-up than the last one. The Niners and the Rams. Niners might have a home game this weekend. I know they're trying to limit the fans who could buy tickets in the stadium, but there's a lot of Niners fans already out in LA, so there's going to be a sea of red, surely in SoFi. So the Niners have already beaten the Rams twice, I believe, in the regular season.
I was going to ask what the record was.
I believe they've won the last. They've actually won the last like 6 straight, low key. And this season won the last 2 also going with that. So the Niners have had the Rams number for some time now, even also with the additions that the Rams have made. So they seem to be the Rams kryptonite and are going up against this Rams squad that seem to be rolling, but anything's possible this game. So how you think this game unfolds, Alec? Niners Rams.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers here. I said last week with the Niners Packers, like I picked the Packers, but I didn't feel great about it.
Right.
It feels like still to me like the Niners may just be on that like miracle run type of thing where like it's just their year. I don't think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl, but they might just be on that run to get to the Super Bowl. And things kind of just happened in their favor with the block punt.
It reminds me of those Giants years. I mean, you brought up the helmet catch earlier. Like both of the times that they beat the Patriots, they definitely had that like team of destiny. I think the first time they were a wild card. I think they were the 6th seed. Again, I'm not still going to therapy over this. It's not why I can recall it.
Yeah, but it just seems like they kind of have that momentum. I think they're like the least talented team still in the playoffs. Because G makes that face. The only really talented player on that team is Debo. But
I can't say that. No, they have some pieces there. Both on the defense side. Defense is solid.
Like not elite pieces like Debo.
I would disagree on that one.
Jimmy G is not a good quarterback.
Yeah,
like,
Jimmy G is the worst quarterback of the group. Yes, but Elijah Mitchell
is a good running back. But he's not like
their running back room. Like the last 3 years, it's literally just been pieces. Like it's been Raheem Mostert, and then he falls to pieces, and then it's like someone else who touches the ball gets like 120 yards on 200 or 20 carries, and then another guy, and then he gets injured, and then Jeff Wilson Jr. comes up. Like they just have all these guys that just randomly show up, and I feel like Jermichael Hasty is just like the next one in that system.
Yeah,
like
I'm not saying that they're bad, but they're the least talented of the 4. I think clearly.
I mean, least talented of the final 4. Like that's not a slight.
Yeah,
but
just look at the skill positions.
If that is the case, it's just not as big of a gap as maybe making it seem in my head. Like
I mean,
they're the worst of the 4,
talented.
but I don't think they're far behind the Bengals. I actually put them above the Bengals, to be honest, in regards to talent, even with Jimmy G as a quarterback, as a full team. I'm not talking about you're talking about like the big threes, and you're getting the big three pieces for each
like
squad.
Offenses, skill position, like
So like the Bengals O-line just
as
like
a team, maybe
down.
not because they're still there. Like they're still hanging around. Like their defense, as Matt said too, has been solid.
Yeah,
it has been solid, but as a full unit, maybe I'm missing something, but I'm putting the Niners above the Bengals as a full unit there. But I do hear you though in that either way, it's not a big gap between either one of them. They're both have some room to improve, and Jimmy G definitely has some increased play. But yeah, that statement is coming off guard there. So I'll let you get back to what you were saying. Sorry.
Gotcha. And yeah, I'll actually be at this game, the Niners Rams game, because my dad got the hookup from a friend with tickets.
That's sick.
I think what's her name? Kelly Stafford is offered to buy tickets for fans because they want to get Rams fans in there.
Please just wear blue for the love of God.
Like she was saying, there's going to be a lot of 49ers fans there. So I think they're trying to keep the home field advantage. I don't know if
didn't SoFi restrict?
That's what I was saying.
Buy tickets
only LA folks can buy tickets. So
the Titans did the same thing.
Yeah,
and it didn't work clearly.
Right, yeah.
So,
that'll be like if Austin ever gets a sports team. It's any of these cities LA where there's a lot of transplants, Nashville now,
exactly.
Austin's getting up there. It's just gonna happen all the time.
Exactly.
Except for basketball.
But yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of credence to when you see a team multiple times in the season, even though they did lose to them twice, the Rams, I do think it gives you a little bit of maybe not a competitive edge, but it helps as far as game planning for them. I think Sean McVay is a good enough coach to make adjustments to what they struggled with in the past. That second game, especially because that was when they first got Odell and Von Miller.
Right.
And Stafford was really banged up, and it was the week before their bye, and they were just struggling at that point. And it really hit a groove after that bye week. So I think this is a different Rams team than the 49ers saw that game. Yeah. But I might just be going with the miracle run kind of the 49ers, because while I said I think they're the least talented team here, I like their momentum. I've said it every week. Mm-hmm. This Rams team pulled off, I guess, because it looked like they were about to blow that game.
Yeah.
We both picked the Rams, but I was not going to be shocked if Brady came back and won that game.
It was close.
They eked it out in the end, but while I think they're more talented, I think the 49ers are rolling. I can't point it out what it is, but they're rolling.
Yeah. I definitely hear you in that, and I see what the Niners are doing as well. To your point about playing two times and you now have a chance to adjust, as great as McVay is and make adjustments, I think Shanahan's a really good coach as well, and will make his own adjustments as well to keep them in play for that. But I will say, as much as I do want to pick the Niners because I see the same things you do, listen, man, Jimmy G can't keep getting away with this. I've had enough.
He got to a Super Bowl before.
Listen, no. I don't care what happened before. This playoff run with him playing has gotten on my nerves. Listen, he's not going to keep getting away with this. He's been doing just enough, but by just enough, literally just enough to hold this team in position. But I think that just enough against a Rams squad who wants to get revenge off after the last 5 losses, wants to have the home game in the Super Bowl on their home field, and all the motivation with a bunch of players on that squad trying to prove themselves. Matt Stafford finally being in and wanted to continue to prove his name. Odell wanted to prove himself. Aaron Donald yet again, and then others who really want this moment. I think they can finally turn the corner on this Niners squad and get this W. So I'm rolling with the Rams this game. As much as I said all the other ones, it's really, as I said, just because Jimmy G has really gotten on my nerves, and I do not want to see this man in the Super Bowl. I refuse. I refuse. His game and the just enough mentality or whatever, it's not. It's going to start. It's going to come back to haunt them at one point or another, and I think it's going to be this game. And his when they need him to step up, he's not going to be able to. That's going to be the difference between them and the Rams We saw even with the Rams kind of blowing that, or not kind of, they blew that Bucks lead. In the end, they still find a way to make the plays to get the W. And I think they'll do that yet again, while Jimmy G will find a way to his flaws will finally show there, and the Rams will capitalize. So run with the Rams in that one.
I'll say too, I don't think they instill a lot of confidence, the Rams, just after how they won that game.
That's fine.
Like Cam Akers fumbling 2 times in crucial moments, and I don't know.
I hear you in that, but I wouldn't even say like what I described. I'm not even fully confident in the Rams. I'm more so confident
betting against Jimmy G. Essentially,
I'm betting against Jimmy G and confident that he won't make the plays needed to keep them afloat this time around. So that's more so where it is. So we talked about the earlier. I made the face about the teams and their rankings, and as full teams, I said that it's a close gap between the Niners and the Bengals. If we look at just quarterbacks, I think it's Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford, and there's a long gap. And Jimmy G.
I think the long gap's before Stafford. I gotta.
That's where the long gap. There's a long gap before Stafford, I'd say too, and then a large gap, and then Jimmy G.
Yeah, sure, whatever. There's a big gap there between Jimmy G, and that gap shows in this game, and that's the difference there. So rolling with the Rams really because of that, and hopefully I'm right, because a Super Bowl with him again, I don't know, but we shall see. So
we'll have to shut off the lights
Matt,
again.
What you
think? So I mean, I guess before I get into my pick, like you're sounding an awful lot like Jason Maples right now. Just like Matt Stafford will not lose to Jimmy G. Matt Stafford will not lose to Jimmy G. I think
that's
I'm gonna
true. The Dallas had a really good offense too. Like they were favored to win that game.
That's what I mean. Like, and to your point, G, like I think I'm gonna go with the Niners. I was going back and forth in my head that whole time. But I think I'm gonna go with the Niners, and like I completely get what you're saying about Jimmy G, and like his mistakes are just gonna show up and ruin it. But like, I mean, this whole time, like Jimmy G's been making his mistakes. Like it's not like he's just been he's had a miraculous like 25 of 32 touchdowns game. You know, like he's making his mistakes. He's trying. He's doing his hardest to give them a chance. He's doing his hardest to keep the other team in the game down the stretch. But like the Niners are just recovering. You know, whether it's their defense is good enough to get a stop after his red zone interception or whatever. So I think I'm gonna go with the Niners. It's the one thing that gives me pause is when you guys were talking earlier about, a coach like Sean McVay, like in the fact that the Niners have already beat them twice this year. Like, I don't have the stats up in front of me or anything, but I know it is really hard to beat a team 3 times. Like, I know that's like one of those cliches that you always hear on like an NFL Live whenever you have these like divisional playoff matchups. Like if one team won both the games, like people are just like red alert. Like it's hard to beat a team 3 times. And I mean, that'll be the interesting part of this angle to this game for me is just like the 2 coaches, because these are the 2 coaches that we love to put the like genius tag on that will just we seem to give to most like under 40 white coaches. Which is, he's under 40 and he looks like my son, he's a genius. But like I think it's just what they've been doing with Debo has just been it's been too much fun to watch. And I know that's not how you're supposed to pick these games, but like, I don't know. Like there's just something since they've really started giving them the ball, like the second half of the season. And then, in these playoffs, like it's just the kind of thing where, I mentioned earlier, like when the Patriots used to have Sonny Michel, it's like, okay, they're running it, halfback dive, like just stuff the middle. We're good. We got 2 yards. But like when Debo's back there, you have no idea. He could be in motion the next second and then he's a wideout again. Or he could be, they could have him fake like a run up the middle and have like one of their other fast wide receivers do an end around. You just have no idea what they're doing.
Even when they kind of know that he's getting the ball, like he's still averaging like 6 yards a carry.
Exactly.
It's not like they're stopping him when he gets it.
Yeah, and he's the kind of guy where like, you can't scheme around Aaron Donald, but like you should be able to have Debo in motion or like put him in the right spots where if he's getting a carry, you're not forcing him up the gut into Aaron Donald. Like
they can do that Trent Williams fullback pull they've been doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, that one video that I know you're referring to is like when he is
crazy.
A battering ram.
He did like 3 times, I think. But yeah, he jumped back into a fullback and pulled around and knocked a few of them ends out. It was crazy to see. So they have
George Kittle, while he hasn't been really producing like as a pass catcher, is a elite blocker at the time.
So
I'm going Niners.
It's possible. It's very possible. The season's the bye already, so everybody's been making their picks and all that. So I'm sure it's going to be a very fun weekend and looking forward to all of it. So that's it for the playoffs right now. This is what's currently going on. But there's plenty of stuff going on beyond that as well that we'll get to. Just wanted to cap that. Again, Bengals Chiefs on Sunday as well as Niners Rams. Surely going to be a fun weekend. Looking forward to it all. So let us know your picks as well. Again, follow us on TikTok section .300. Twitter section 300 sports, and let us know what you guys think about it all, and we'll definitely discuss with you about those games as they go down on Sunday. So looking forward to that. I'm now moving on to the other things in the NFL. There have been a couple of things that made news in recent days. Sean Payton retired. He was like, "Hey, $75 million in the cap. Taysom Hill for 4 more years. I'm out of here.
I'm not gonna be there.
I'm not gonna be." So he's out the door. But they do still have pieces there. It's not going to be a complete tank, kind of as it, even as it kind of seemed like it was this year. They still somewhat stayed afloat, almost stuck into the playoffs. So they will have some things they have to redo, but Sean Payton won't be there for the process. So looking forward to how they figure that out. People say he might go be an analyst with Drew Brees for a couple of years or something like that. So I'm looking forward to his next year. So they'll call Kevin James to be the fill-in as he was in the movie or something. We'll see. But looking forward to
how terrible.
Nobody saw that. But I saw a picture enough to make the analogy there. But looking forward to their rebuild. And then also another team that has promised, the Jags. I know they were bad this year, but with Trevor Lawrence there and Urban Meyer out the building, they definitely have things they could build upon. It looks like they're going to be hiring Byron Leftwich as that next head coach. He was the OC, I believe, for the Bucks the last few years. Got ring out of it and things, has been very impressive. I'm glad he's getting this head coaching look. So it's not confirmed yet, but all reports seem like it's very likely and in line with him now out of the playoffs. They can talk to him officially, get all that squared away, and he appears that to be where he's headed next. So congrats to him. Hopefully it does all get finalized, and looking forward to that.
Real quick on that one, actually. Go
ahead.
I mean, why didn't they go for Byron Leftwich last year? Like, couldn't we have avoided this whole Urban Meyer fiasco? Like, he was just coming off a ring. He played in your system. Like, that's a culture move. Like, before, looking at the notes where you mentioned that, like, I had no idea he was going to that job, but it's a great fit. He was a quarterback in that system. Like, why go through this stupid Urban Meyer experiment that you waste? That it's like an entire embarrassment. Like, that's the only thing people can think of from your season where you have like one of the top, like maybe the next Peyton Manning or whatever, and Trevor Lawrence,
People mentioned it last year as well. Like, his name was already floating for that job after the Super Bowl and all of that. But when Urban Meyer called, who prior to this year still had his mystique and praise and all of that, he said he's going to come in and revamp the whole franchise and bring his staff in with them. And he was a Ohio State guy or whatever. And I guess he had connect, even though Trevor Lawrence went to Clemson, but I guess they had ties already, and he was going to bring in, it was some kind of connections that they had that they thought was going to be a perfect match, and it fell apart real quick. And now they're back to where they should have been, as you said, to begin with. So didn't work out, but now they got the guy that should have been there. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good hire. Like, that's a great move, but I don't know. Like, to me, it would have made so much more sense last season. As a quarterback, you're bringing in a fresh new quarterback. Like I said, a culture move. Like, that's a team that, when you think of like culture, they don't. What do you think of with the Jags? Like, it's not like they have Maurice Jones-Drew as their running backs coach. Like, that way they can start to like try to build something. I don't know.
The thing was, they actually somewhat had a culture. Like, I mean, it was like, what was that? Maybe 6 years ago. Which is a little while ago now. Jalen Ramsey and Calais Campbell, and they had a few guys on that defense that were there. They were plays away from
the Super Bowl.
The plays away from beating Brady and getting the Super Bowl. So They had a culture that was there, but tore it down. And now are trying to rebuild it. And now are, I guess, going more towards the offensive threat kind of way, building around Trevor Lawrence. And we'll see how they do it. But I do think bringing in Byron Leftwich will continue moving them in the right direction. So very excited for what's to come with them. Lastly, with that topic, actually, something that I've seen recently, a lot of folks talking about just how stacked the AFC is with all these young quarterbacks. Guys all over the place. Most of them active. There's one guy who's unknown still. We're trying to figure out what's going on with him. But if he's available, definitely adds to. Say it again.
So redacted.
Yeah, exactly. Redacted. He's out for the moment, but if he's in the mix as well, definitely makes the AFC a very tough place to play. I just wanted to ask you guys, who are your top 5? And if you could, I know I kind of put it on you just now, but in order, if you can, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC right now?
You want to take it, Matt?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it feels pretty easy to put, Mahomes at number 1.
Sure.
And then probably, after that, I'll probably go. I've always been the Lamar guy, so I'm going to keep him at number 2.
Thank you. I was hoping you would say that. Thank you for that. Go ahead, continue.
But yeah, I'll keep Lamar at 2. Then probably go Herbert and Joe Burrow. I don't know where to rank them, 4 or 3. I think I'm going to go Burrow at 3, just because he's still playing. Not that collapse was Herbert's fault.
Josh Allen's there too, right?
I was going to say, what about Josh Allen?
I'm thinking.
I kept looking at the list. I was like,
you know why I forgot him too? I was trying to build my list. Okay, how do I keep Mac Jones at 5? I can't. Okay.
Not happening. All right.
Let me back that up. Sorry, Josh Allen. I lost memory after that last week. Patriots. But yeah. So all right, Pat number 1. I'll keep Lamar 2. I'll go Josh Allen. Yeah, Josh Allen at 3. Okay. Then I'll probably go Joe Burrow 4, Herbert 5.
Joe Burrow 5.
Okay.
Herbert 5.
Okay.
I think I agree with that as well. If redacted, and we'll say his name now, Deshaun Watson is active next year, does he jump anyone on that list, or is he at 6?
I think he's proven enough to be better than Joe and Herbert already. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league with a really bad Texans team.
Well, I guess going back to Matt then, if Joe makes a Super Bowl, does Joe stay above Deshaun then, or does Deshaun still go above Joe?
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, he didn't play a full season, so
but that would, what G just said, that would mean Burrow beats Mahomes in a shootout, basically. Unless the Bengals defense catches fire.
Yeah. So, I think that's fair then. If he did make a Super Bowl getting past Mahomes, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the list for me as well, which is kind of the list that most folks have had. I will say the online folks don't like Lamar like we do, so Lamar's lower on their list than we have him. But for me and Matt, at least, I know I'm saying for me and Matt.
Number 12, we have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Joe, Herbert, and then Watson as a 6th man. So that's my 6 AFC guys. Alec, who you got?
Yeah, Mahomes at an obvious number 1. I've wavered on Josh Allen the past couple years. He's been great. I think his rookie year he wasn't so good, but then kind of shot out of a cannon. Once they got Stephon Diggs, that connection with Diggs has been incredible. And that performance against Mahomes was insane. It's still kind of hard for me to have him over Lamar. Where people have already jumped him over Lamar. Lamar won an MVP.
And can I say this as the Lamar guy, or one of the 2 Lamar guys here now with Matt here as well? Yeah. Lamar also was, as I pointed out early on this season, was putting up another MVP season. Yes, there was room to improve.
There was a couple of games before.
There were a couple of games where he made some mistakes himself, yes. But for him to have the woes and injuries that he had to overcome and still have the team position that he had for as long as he did, he was at least in the discussion, was I guess more so what I'm trying to say. So Lamar definitely still is a talent, and I guess to the other folks' point who want to discredit him, he has room to improve as well still, which is amazing to see that he can be as good as he already is with so much room to also improve also. So I definitely think that Lamar is still the second best guy in AFC. And I think if with a healthy squad next year, they'll be in this top four that we're discussing right now in the playoffs. If he has his guys around him as well. So looking forward to what's next with the Ravens, absolutely. So I definitely have Lamar at 2 still, as great as Allen has put on this year.
The past 2 years, not just this year.
Correct. Sure.
I think because of these past 2 seasons I've seen from Allen, I just think he's a better passer than Lamar. I think Lamar is more dynamic.
That's fine.
And can do things that other quarterbacks can't. Like, I don't think Josh Allen with the weapons that Lamar had necessarily would have been as successful as the Ravens were when Lamar was healthy. But I think as a quarterback, like if we're just saying players, I'd probably take Lamar over him. But like just as a quarterback, like I want my quarterback to be able to throw it at an elite level. So I'd probably have Allen at 2. I think Joe is creeping. I've been super high on Joe. Like, so if he does get past Mahomes, that probably creeps him above Lamar for me. But I'll keep Lamar at 3 for me right now. And I think it stays like how you have it on here. So Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Lamar 3, Burrow 4, Herbert 5. Redacted. I got to see him again. But as I said, when he was healthy, I think he was like a top 4 or 5 guy in the league, not just the AFC.
He was. I hesitate to like include him back in this, say he plays next year, just because, like, I mean, you know, he's had a full year off at this point. Like, and the things that we've seen, guys like Burrow, Herbert, you know, Josh Allen, like I wouldn't have had Josh Allen on his level even after last year. But, you know, seeing him do it a second year, do it in the playoffs, like that means a lot. So, you know, like, I feel like, you know, he's still an incredible quarterback. Like, don't get me wrong. But I feel like just because we've seen guys like Burrow, Herbert, you know, Allen make these big leaps, I feel like even if he comes back the same player he left, like he's probably comfortably 6, but I think I'd still have him 6.
Yeah, so that is the big 6 there. I mentioned a bunch of other young guys who are also in the AFC. Also, is there any room for any of them to jump ahead of these guys, or is that big 6 going to be solidified for some years to come? Do you think Mac or Drew Lock or somebody, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, or whoever is going to jump in the mix?
Trevor Lawrence would be the one I would give a chance there.
He didn't really get a shot with that bad Jacksonville team.
Got you. And got a lot of hate because of that too. For some reason, people saying he was overrated and all of that. I'm like, he didn't have anything to work with, like what's wrong
at all, really.
So I definitely think Trevor could jump back in that mix as well. And looking forward to it all. So fun things there. Definitely looking forward to it. And while we're on the topic of quarterbacks, we might finally be seeing the end of 2 great ones. Did we see the last games of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, or we think we see some more games between both of them?
I thought we were going to talk about the other redacted guy that we saw the last of.
Wait, who's the other redacted?
I know what you're talking about.
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Big Ben.
To be fair, I don't think that's the last we're seeing either Rodgers or Brady, to answer your question.
Okay.
I think Brady maybe, but I don't think he wants to go out like that. Like that would be just the way that Buccaneers season ended with AB and then Godwin getting hurt, and then like the way that game ended too. Like during that comeback, he was like, I mean, I think I sent it to you guys. Like, I was like, this feels like the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. Like, just the way that comeback was storming. Yeah, and like the way that the ball was breaking for him defensively, like I thought he was back in there. So I can't imagine Brady leaves on that note. But and then Rodgers, I mean, he can't host Jeopardy because he's not vaccinated. So there goes that. And then what else does he do? Hang out with Shailene Woodley 365 days a year? I mean, you know, talk to Pat McAfee. You can only do that so often.
Right.
Both of them still playing at MVP levels. Like
exactly. I think that's the key point instead of the jokes, though. Like they aren't at that Big Ben level where it's like, you should retire. Get out of here.
Like their arms aren't fully cooked.
No, not yet. So I guess we may see one more year between Brady and a couple more for Rodgers, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But looking forward to all of that. I guess lastly. The other last big news in the NFL, Brady's teammate for a little while, who now wants to be our guy Lamar Jackson's teammate, Antonio Brown was on the I Am Athlete podcast talking about all the things that continue to go down. And it was a good episode. And I
haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
But you didn't watch it?
No.
It just felt like rather than interviewing him, which they kind of did do, it just kept feeling like they kept trying to insert themselves into the situation. Brandon Marshall had a whole it felt like it was
like Nick Young. Like Nick Young.
Yeah, I'm like, Nick Young didn't need to be there. I mean, he made one comment online, and I guess Brandon Marshall was like, okay, you talked about him. Come on and join and sit down with us.
Need Swaggy P for this discussion.
In a way, kind of was just agreeing with Antonio Brown the whole time. It seemed like I think he pushed back just a little bit, but it wasn't no deep discussion there. Mm-hmm. But for the rest of it, it just felt like Brandon Marshall was sitting there like, if I was in the situation, I would have. And Antonio Brown was like, you weren't in the situation. We're not talking about you. We're talking about me. And it just kept going back and forth with things like that. So it was decent. I do wish a guy like Ocho was there. I wish the other guys that Channing and Fred Taylor could have sat down with them, but they've gone their separate ways and are doing their things. But still was interesting to see and hear some of the thoughts that Antonio Brown had just about the situation, especially compared to the reaction we saw from others online. All of the folks talking about mental health and all the folks that we discussed that just a little bit ourselves, Alec, and all the other things about his wild behavior. And while it was wild, of course, he felt disrespected to the nth degree and reacted, I wouldn't say accordingly, but reacted in a very Antonio Brown said anyway.
I said emotionally,
very emotionally as a result of that. So he explained that, and there are at least short moments when he talks where it's like, okay, he gets it. Yes, he will go off and kind of have his kind of rambling and arrogant whatever type stuff. Yeah. But there is a part of him there that is like, he understands his legacy and he understands that he wants to go out and he still has football left to give and wants to go out to the best of his abilities. But when he's injured and is trying to do what he can, he wants to be supported and understood in that moment rather than just being thrown back out there and being forced to overcome that. He also was like, if you're a Hall of Fame level guy, you deserve a little bit better treatment than that. And he didn't feel like he was receiving that. On the opposite end, I could see I see how coaches have the I don't care what your resume is, I treat all players equal, whatever. But it was just interesting to hear Antonio Brown's thoughts, as we've heard a couple of times now with his recent run of interviews and things he's been doing. So definitely recommend you guys checking that out. Even if not the whole thing, there's I think the first 30 minutes they really get into it. So check that stuff out and go from there. But the online image of Antonio Brown and the hate aren't fully in sync. I do think as crazy or I don't know if I want to say crazy, but just as emotional, as Alex said, as he's been in recent years, I could see him getting another shot. And I, to be honest, would not mind him. I know there's a few Raven fans already pushing back on it, but I wouldn't mind him going to Baltimore. I know there are Ravens that are saying he does not. I think Shannon Sharp said he does not mirror the Ravens way, and he's the antithesis of what the Ravens are and how they carry themselves. But I think
you had Ray Lewis. What are you talking
about? I'm like
Ray Rice.
I'm like, for one, what is that way, as you guys are saying? And then two, I think if he's in a place where he is asking to be next to a guy like Lamar Jackson, where he's in the building with a guy like Hollywood Brown, who I believe is his cousin or nephew or whatever the relationship is, when he has people that he feels comfortable around and are supported with, I do think that it can work.
But didn't he have that? That's my thing.
Say that again.
Did he have that in Tampa Bay? Because Tom welcomed him with open arms. He was living with him.
Yeah.
And he said Tom's still his guy in some of these interviews. Yeah. So it seemed like it was more like him and Bruce Arians kind of.
Which, as you say that, a lot of, especially it sounded like from the I'm an Athlete video, it sounded like a lot of the language he was using was respect. Fucking Bruce Arians is didn't he like just beat cancer or something like that, or like was battling it? So like he was immunocompromised. Like the head coach, the decision maker, the guy that ended up,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So like if AB, with the whole fake vax card stuff, like if you weren't giving respect to your organization, like that's something that the team would then get in trouble with the league for, with the fake vax cards.
Like too, which could hurt the team as well.
Exactly. So I feel like he's expecting all of the respect while not giving any.
I hear you in that. Yeah. I guess then to the point I was making about the Ravens, if there's any spot where I feel like he could get that both ways, where they would give him the respect by being around Lamar, who again has supported him, and Hollywood and others who are in support of him, I think that respect would go both ways, and he would just go out and do what he needs to do. On the other side of it, if we don't sign him, I think we're actually already in good shape with how I've seen the improvement from Rashad Bateman already in one season, as well as Hollywood Brown. So him being alongside them, it could be just another helpful piece for Lamar on the outside if needed. But if not, we're already in good shape and can do our thing.
I want better for you and your Ravens. You keep settling for like good wide receiver 2 type talent. Like you guys have yet to get that top end wide receiver to help out Lamar.
So is Antonio Brown that one then?
You're willing to make that compromise for possible cancer in the locker
and I mean like that sounds, because he's older too, that just sounds like such a temporary solution to me when you got young guys. I mean, Bateman was a rookie this year, Lamar's young, Hollywood's young.
To my point, I don't consider him a solution. I think he adds to the mix and can be helpful in that regard. But I don't think he's a solution to the whatever issues are there now.
Right.
I think we actually are developing a really good receiving core there that he could add to, but wouldn't be a necessary guy, a part of that group to still have the success that I believe we'll have in the future. So it's up to him really if he's going to straighten up a bit. So we shall see. Lastly, I don't have anything else NFL wise. We'll end this NFL side with that. That's it. So again, we appreciate you guys for all of that. Definitely let us know your thoughts on everything we're talking about in the comments here on YouTube if you're watching here, or on our podcast streaming services, or IG and TikTok, as I've said a few times, 16.300, as well as Twitter, 16 Sports. Follow us online everywhere. Our ads are here. Just say G for me, Lakers Fan 24, and Marcus Smarts from Matt there. And thank you guys for tuning in for NFL side part 2, talking about the NBA, MLB, and Barry Bonds and what's going on with him and beyond. We'll be here shortly as well. So thank you guys for that, and we'll see you again soon. Appreciate you guys. Peace.